Welcome to another Demarcation Media Lego review. Today we are going to be looking at a very special set. So in front of me is a set that looks like it came from 1978. And that is 100% on purpose because Lego has kind of launched into remaking old sets, like old sets, like the original sets. As of the time of the recording of this video, there has been a Galaxy Explorer remake revealed and a set that's not so much a remake, it's more like a legacy set of like this massive 4,000 piece castle that has some of these forest men actually in it, which I'm gonna try and get my hands on that set. I don't know when that'll happen, and I don't know if I'll do a review, but yeah, that has been revealed. But this was kind of the start of it. This is the Forest Hideout. You can see it up here in the corner. This is a exact replica of an old set. And this was a gift with purchase this past, well, as of the time of recording this video, it's still running, but by the time the video is out, it's probably going to be over. At least the first round is over. I think they're going to bring it back in August when those other legacy sets release. But yeah, so this was a free set if you bought over $150 worth of stuff on the Lego website or in a Lego store. So I saw this. I really like Castle. I was not collecting Lego when this came out. I was not even born yet, but I really like the Castle stuff. So the Castle stuff was what drew me, not necessarily nostalgia. But yeah, so I just wanted to take a look at this. So we have the box design is made to look like the classic Castle stuff, and I really like it mainly because they lean heavily on very realistic photography. Like, they didn't doctor it all up all that much. It looks like they set up some cardboard hills and set up the figures and set up some lights. I think that's fantastic. That really makes the set pop to me instead of like CG stuff like Lego sometimes does and like Mega does, or even the really doctored photos like what Lego usually does. So yeah, I think that's really cool. All of the box art here looks fantastic. The bright yellow is very eye-catching. We got a 90 years of play with a Forceman symbol there. It says Castle System. Some more photography here. Looks very nice. On top, you are not going to forget what set this is. We get a look at one of our forest men, or that's actually the forest woman. And then around the back, we have more of that really great photography. I don't know, something about the way they shot this looks fantastic to me. It just looks really, really good. Maybe it's just because it looks like something that I could do, and I don't know, it just looks very real. Like, I don't feel like it's false advertising at all. And we got some measurements of the thing opened up. That feels a little weird to me, the way they're doing that, because it is opened up, but you can also close it. I feel like they should have given the measurements of it closed. I don't know. Maybe that's just nitpicking. But yeah, overall, this box looks really, really good. And it's fairly large and heavy for a free set. Really, though, I just kind of care about what's inside the box. So let's pop these seals. I may keep this box just because of how nice the photos are. Sometimes I'll keep smaller set boxes so that if I have to pack the set up again, I'll just put it back in the box. Okay, here's bag one. Guess I opened it from the right end. Also bag one. Bag two. Ooh, there's one of the Forestmen shields. Bag two again. Oh, look at those. I'm really digging the retro look. Like I said, I don't have like the huge nostalgia for the old sets like some people do, but I gotta admit, this looks very nice. It brings me back to when Lego cared more about being creative than about getting licenses. I feel like Lego's lost some of their magic lately because they're focusing so much on licensed stuff and not much on the creativity of the stuff like the old themes they used to make, like Power Miners and their own fantasy era castle line, Atlantis, Space Police, all that was great. And now we mostly just get licensed stuff, and it's kind of sad. Also, can we talk about how the instruction pages are gray? That is very different, and it's kind of refreshing, honestly. Interesting. It's also interesting they chose to do dark, or this kind of darkish gray, when the build is mostly black. Yeah, that's a little odd. We get to see the finished build there. Parts checklist. No extra stuff other than rebuild the world. And what is wrong with that pig? That's not right. I think he needs to go see a doctor. Okay, so to be honest, I think I kind of want to do a speed build here. It's been a while since I've done a speed build. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that. And we are done. Honestly, I was not expecting this build to be anything of note, but it was really fun. There was a lot of really interesting pieces, a lot of pieces I haven't seen before, especially like this right here. Lego has taken a page out of Mega's book and made these double bar sections. I've been wanting Lego to do this for a long time, and they finally have after Mega. So I've said this before. First, it was Mega was the bootleg, and now Lego and Mega just kind of trade back and forth, stealing each other's ideas on certain piece designs. Unlike Mega's, though, this has an interesting connection point on the end for like smaller peg stuff, although Mega doesn't really do this smaller peg, so it's not like they would even need to do that in the first place. But yeah, we got some interesting extras, an extra sword, extra little greenery piece, extra plumes, some really nice stuff. Overall, I'm fairly impressed just right off the bat. Because again, this was a free set, and yeah, the threshold was pretty high, $150, but this would be like a $25 or $30 set if you bought it in stores. $20 ideally, but you know Lego's prices these days. So let's go ahead and jump in and look at the figures. So obviously the set comes with 2 minifigures, and these they're not entirely new. The heads are not new, but the torsos certainly are, and that's kind of the big thing here. we finally have newer style forestmen outfits, and we'll be seeing these return in the new huge like lion castle set. So if I'm able to get that, I'll have a whole troop of them. But they look really good. Both the torsos are identical. They've got like that little neck collar piece thing. I don't honestly know what you call that. Then we've got some belts there, and then some just kind of, bro, stand up. Some kind of wear and tear. Obviously, since they're identical, you can see them both having it. That's what the back looks like. Looks very nice, and it's neither male nor female, so you can do both. And we do have both a guy and a girl here. Personally, I'm not real happy with that choice. First of all, the lady is just boring. Like, they picked the most generic, old, overused female Lego City face possible, whereas the dude gets a new, fairly rare face, which looks really good. He's got kind of a cocky grin, but he looks kind of nice at the same time. It's a very fitting face, and the lady is just boring. Like, that's just boring. It really is. But also, the original set came with a guy with a brown hat, or a minifigure with a brown hat, and a minifigure with a green hat. And they just had the little dot eye faces, so it could have been either. And yes, they did also have unique torsos, while these guys have identical. But still, making this minifigure a female gave Lego an excuse to not make the brown hat, and I don't like that. So what I'm probably going to end up doing, and again, not because I didn't want them to include a female minifigure in the set, it's just they made her so boring. I'm going to use this, and there's an extra, actually there's 2 extra red plumes, and in my opinion, that looks a lot more interesting. I think, especially since it's an old man. But yeah, that's what I feel like it should have been. Or, heck, make the minifigure a female and give her the brown hat. Like, come on. Again, this face is so boring. But this 100% could have worked if Lego wanted it to. But they didn't really want to. I guess they wanted it to have hair or something. I don't know. I don't like that choice. But that's mostly just my opinion. She does have a pretty nice hairpiece. That's a good one to get. It's kind of fitting for the medieval looking vibe to the whole set. She has the round sword. This is the newer style of the classic sword. This came in the, what year was that? It was the Lion Knights versus the Dragon Knights, but the Lion Knights were blue and gold. And then this dude has the hat, which is slightly different than the older one. It's just a bit of an updated mold. It looks slightly less crisp in some areas, which is a bit of a bummer. And then the peg hole, I've heard people talking about how the peg hole on the newer one and the older one are a little different. The plume does feel a bit loose on the older one, whereas it sticks pretty decently in the newer one. Well, okay, maybe less decent than I thought. It just wants to fall out a little bit. But that's not bad. And then he's got a bow. Old classic bow. We've got these for so many years, and Lego really doesn't need to change it up too much. We do have like the elf bow mold, but this is the bow that this guy needed. And you can obviously pose him in a shooting position. I like that they didn't just give them both bows. I like the inclusion of a sword. So fantastic minifigures. The lady is just super boring, but I'm not really going to knock any points off of the overall score of the set. Not that I really score it like that, but it's really, really easy to just pop the head off and put a more interesting one in its place. So now let's take a look at the Forest Hideout itself. So first of all, we have this little target build, which is really cool. It's actually like a tripod, stands up on its own. The circle print on the front of that is not the best, but you can set it up like that. Put it wherever. You could put it on here if you wanted to, so that our archer dude can do some target practice, which is fantastic. So the first thing that I see when I'm looking at this set are the shields up here. A reprint of the old classic Forestman shields, and they look so good. We had kind of a Forestman reference, I believe, with one of the collectible minifigures, the Forest Maiden. I think she had a deer on her shield, which I have that minifigure. I don't know where her shield is at the moment, though. But yeah, this is a direct recolor or reprint of the old ones, and it looks really nice. I don't have an old one to compare it with because, again, I didn't have these old sets. But these look great. I'm always glad to get new shields because it's cool to just build up different factions in the castle world that I'm kind of assembling. And then the build of the tree, so it is black, which is a kind of confusing at first, but I think this is supposed to be like one of those really old growth trees that when they do get this big, they do kind of end up looking black. So that's pretty cool. And then the original one was black as well, because I don't think they had that much brown yet. The original one was very angular, though, and this is very round. There's all kinds of weird pieces here. Like, there's a lot of those it's like these cylinders, but a half of it. I'd never seen that before. I've never really seen this big macaroni piece before. And it does go pretty high, which is cool. And the kind of leaf cover looks good. The way that the branches kind of curve up here is fairly convincing. I like the amount of foliage here. And we finally get one of the little trees. It's been a long time since we've gotten one of these little trees. And then there's some flowers growing here, but for some reason it doesn't really stick. It just kind of rattles, which is frustrating. It doesn't fall out. Like if I take this and it doesn't fall out, it just rattles. We have a mushroom. It's not printed, unfortunately. It would have been nice to see the printed piece because Lego has printed mushrooms, but you know, that's a minor nitpick. And then we have a spear stored on the outside as an extra weapon. So that's also great. But now let's get in a little closer and take a look at the interior. So when the hideout is closed up around the back, we have a little like archway that is big enough for a minifigure to slip through and fit inside. While it's closed, there's not a ton of room in there. But then we can kind of just take it, hinge it open, and then we get to see inside. So here's the doorway. You could pose a minifigure coming through like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could build a bunch onto the back of this. Even though it is supposed to just be one tree. You could kind of maybe use it like this and say it's trees growing up against a cliff or something. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, so we've got a ladder here to go up into the little lookout area, or maybe it's a position from which to shoot, like so. Wow, my camera is getting really bright. There we go. I don't know what just happened. My camera was like, you need all of the light, and everything got super ridiculously bright. But yeah, so we've got the ladder up there. The dude can shoot out the little window. You can kind of see him in there. He's a little bit hidden. You can also hinge the roof open like that. I don't know if this was advertised in the original set as something to do, but you could kind of have a figure out here shooting down or just looking out from the tops of the trees. So I guess that's an option. I thought it was just to get this angled bit, but apparently not. Oh yeah, and there's a little flag up here too. Although it's red, I'm not really sure why the plumes and stuff are red. And then down on the other side, there's a barrel in this little like attic section, which is the Forestman's treasure. They just have some gold studs in there. I would have liked to see the flat ones, but you know, that's fine. And then you could, if you wanted to, use this as a little resting area for the minifigures, I guess. Just have them kind of sit up there. That's a terrible posing job, but you get the idea. Now, from the photos I've seen, the original set did not come with a ladder. So that's kind of cool that this one does. And you can knock the ladder down. Although, if you're trying to defend the tree, knocking the ladder down isn't going to help you any because it's just going to stick you up in the tree and they can just put it back. And also, if you were to close it, that really doesn't do much. But yeah, it's got a lot going for it for being such a small, compact build. Although it's not really that small. It's pretty tall, you know, going all the way up and down. When you put a minifigure at the base, it doesn't look very small. And there's plenty of room to pose some figures around the outside, even when it's closed up. Yeah, that's really cool. Like I said, I didn't get this set because of the nostalgia factor. I just wanted some new Castle Robin Hood type guys, and this definitely does it. I'm pretty happy with this. Oh yeah, and in case you couldn't see, there are like stonework pieces on the sides. There's a little bit on the front. But yeah, just to add, I don't know exactly what's going on here because the wood is black, but then the stone is like merged with the tree, and they somehow like built into the tree itself with the stone. But yeah, that's pretty cool. There is some like gaps here, so you could kind of have a figure look out that direction as well. I don't really know how they could have fixed that. But there's the top of the tree looking down. Pretty impressive. This is another great one to get if you want some foliage. Well, there you have it. That is the Lego Forest Hideout. So this is a really special set for a handful of reasons. First of all, because it will kind of bring back childhood memories for a lot of people, a lot of adult collectors. And so for many, that'll be the reason why they'll get this set. But for people like me, it signals a return of just kind of castle in general, which kind of has been my favorite theme for a while, but it's been my favorite theme when the line was actually ended. So a lot of you will remember the giant castle lot I got a while back, and it was very expensive. So the fact that we're getting new original castle stuff is very exciting, and I'm really happy that we're not just getting good knights and bad knights. We're finally getting the old factions back, Forestmen, Black Falcons, Lions. So these guys are very exciting for that reason. The new torso print is fantastic. The new shield is great. Honestly, the really only complaint I have with this set is the lady. She's just so boring. I know it's an easy fix. It's just, why did Lego have to do that in the first place? If they wanted to give a female minifigure, then give her an interesting face, first of all, and then give her the brown hat. Like, the brown hat kind of, we needed the brown hat. Aside from that, though, the build was really cool. You know, it looks pretty realistic as a tree. Yeah, there's some weird looking spots, but overall, it's really good. It was fun to put together. And like I said, the box design is great. So really, if you're a castle fan, this is kind of a must. Now, like I said, probably by the time this video comes out, this will not be available on the Lego website or in stores anymore. But I've heard it's scheduled to like I don't know what's the word, reset, I don't know, reboot, whatever you want to call it. It'll be available again come August, because August is when the castle releases and when the spaceship releases and all that. So if you want to get one, keep your eyes on the Lego website. It's $150 worth of stuff you have to buy to get it. It's a high amount, but if you just want to like buy a modular building, which is what I did, then you'll get it. So highly recommend. Honestly, if you want like castle stuff, if you're a diehard castle fan like me, wait until the big castle comes out, buy that, and then get this. I think that's the whole reason they're bringing it back for August. I think that would be a great pairing. I'm really, really hoping I can get my hands on that big one, and then put this alongside it. So that's kind of the bottom line here. Great set, boring extra minifigure, or second minifigure, not extra. And it's slightly difficult to get. But overall, this is really cool. I'm really glad to see Lego kind of going back to their roots a little bit, trying to find that creativity that they've lost lately. Because I really do feel like a lot of their stuff has lost that magic that it used to have. Like, sure, they're still doing some awesome stuff, and I still like a lot of their sets. It's just, I miss the days when their sets that you would go into Target and all the sets on the shelves would be something cool and exciting that Lego had made up, that had room for you to get and then make your own stories with. Now it's mostly you just see Marvel and Star Wars and Lego ideas, which, like I said, it's great. There's some cool stuff, but it's just missing that creativity that they used to have. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.